If you grew up watching basketball in the early 2010s, you know the Wizards weren't exactly must-see TV. But if you tuned in, John Wall made it worth it. He had the speed, the flash, the passing, the defense, everything you'd want in a point guard. For a good stretch, he was legitimately one of the best in the league. We will break down just how good John Wall really was, why he never got the recognition he deserved, and what ultimately held him back. Now, John Wall came out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and from day one you could tell he was different. By high school, he was already being labeled as the fastest guard in the country. Recruiting services had him as the #1 prospect in the class of 2009, and coaches were lining up to get him. He had that combination of size and speed at the point guard position that just looked unfair. By the time he got to Kentucky, he was already a superstar in the making. That 2010 Kentucky team was stacked. They had Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Eric Bledsoe. Wall came in with all the hype, and he lived up to every bit of it. He averaged 16 points, 6.5 assists, 4 rebounds, and nearly 2 steals a game. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was how he did it. He'd grab a rebound, and in the blink of an eye, he was laying it up on the other end. He was a walking fast break. The Kentucky team made the Elite Eight, and while they didn't win the title, Wall's 1 year in college cemented him as the clear #1 pick. In 2010, the Wizards made it official. From the start in Washington, John Wall was electric. In just his 3rd NBA game, he dropped 29 points and 13 assists. Right then, you knew Washington had something special. And it wasn't just that he was fast, he was blindingly fast. People always talk about Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook as the most explosive point guards, but John Wall was right there with him. Once he got downhill, there was no stopping him. His crossover was nasty, and even as a rookie, he was already one of the better playmakers in the league. He finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Blake Griffin, but the message was clear. Wall was the future of the Wizards. Now let's go through his peak years, because this is the version of John Wall people tend to forget. By 2014, he was an all-star, and that point forward, he was locked in as one of the best guards in the East. The Wizards were finally making the playoffs again, and Wall was the engine driving it all. In the 2014 playoffs, he averaged 16 and 7 while helping the Wizards beat the Bulls in the first round. That was Washington's first playoff series win in almost a decade. In 2015, he took another leap, 17 points and over 10 assists a game, plus elite defense. He actually led the league in total assists that season. In the playoffs, he was on fire against Toronto, dropping 26 and 17 in one game. Unfortunately, he broke his hand in the second round against Atlanta, and that killed their momentum. But you could see it. That was a guy who could hang with anybody.
Jay Wall.
So what's up?
Man, I'm feeling your new Adidas shoe from Foot Locker.
Thank you, man. It's kind of a big deal.
All part of the process, right?
Process?
First you get the signature shoe, then you make the championship run, then you get the girl, then you get the mansion, then your number gets retired. Then you open Walls, Wings, and Burgers.
Hey, John, I like that name. That's a good name.
Then you get a little comfortable.
2016 was another step up, 20 points, 10 assists, 2 steals. And then 2017, the peak of John Wall's career. That season, he put up 23 points, almost 11 assists, 2 steals, shot 45% from the floor, and was named to the All-NBA third team. He was an all-star starter. He carried the Wizards to 49 wins, their best record since the 70s. Think about that. John Wall gave Washington their best season in nearly 4 decades. And that playoff run was so special. In the first round against Atlanta, he averaged 29 points and 10 assists. He was unstoppable. Then the second round against Boston, he went toe-to-toe with Isaiah Thomas, who was having the best season of his life. Wall averaged 27 and 10 in that series, and Game 6 was the peak of his career. With Washington's season on the line, he hit that step-back 3 over Avery Bradley in the final seconds to force Game 7. He climbed up on the scorer's table, the crowd went insane. It was one of the most iconic moments in Wizards history. They lost Game 7 in Boston, but Wall had cemented himself as a superstar.
Can't find anybody. He gives it to Wall. Working against Bradley for 3. John Wall! What a shot! Now you talk about a pressure shot. That was it. because they had nothing. They were trying to bring Bradley Beal.
Now, stylistically, John Wall's game was built on three things: speed, playmaking, and defense. He could go to coast, faster than almost anyone in basketball. His vision was elite. He made Marcin Gortat look like an all-star some nights because he set him up for easy buckets over and over again. And defensively, he was a menace. He led the league in steals in 2017, and for 5 straight years, he averaged almost 2 steals per game. When locked in, he was one of the best two-way guards in the NBA. Now let's compare him to some of his peers. People love to talk about Westbrook, Kyrie, CP3, Dame, and a healthy D Rose. At his peak, Wall was right there with them. Was he the best scorer? No, but as a passer and defender, he was elite. He wasn't as flashy as Kyrie, but he was more well-rounded. He wasn't the MVP like Westbrook or a healthy D Rose, but he was steadier in terms of running a team. For a 5-year stretch, you could honestly argue that Wall was a top 5 point guard in the entire association. But here's the sad part of John Wall's story. Injuries robbed him of what could have been a greater career. After 2017, the injuries started to pile up. Knee surgeries, a heel surgery, then the Achilles tear in 2019.
What the hell? No.
And if you know basketball, you know the Achilles is basically the worst injury for a player whose game is built on speed. He missed 2 full seasons, and by the time he came back, the burst was gone.
Some big news coming in at CBS Sports HQ out of the NBA. That news cycle offering yet another bombshell trade on Wednesday. The Houston Rockets have agreed to trade Russell Westbrook and first-round pick to Washington in exchange for John Wall. The guard swap going to reunite Westbrook with head coach Scott Brooks. Wall will look to put a new foot forward in his first action in about 2 years as he continues to recover from a ruptured Achilles. Both point men scheduled to make north of $41 million next season. But again, John Wall a Rocket, Russell Westbrook a Wizard.
He had a short stint in Houston where he came up with some decent numbers, 20 points and 7 assists, but the Rockets were tanking and didn't need him. He had a little run with the Clippers, but it just wasn't the same. By 2023, he was out of the league, and 2 years later in 2025, he officially announced his retirement. And then there's the contract. In 2017, the Wizards gave Wall a supermax extension, 4 years, $170 million. At that time, it made sense. He was their franchise guy. But once the injuries hit, that deal became one of the worst contracts in the league. For years, people only talked about Wall in terms of his contract, not his actual game. And that's pretty much unfair, because at his peak, he absolutely earned that money. So how good was John Wall really? At his best, he was a top 3 passer in the league, one of the fastest players ever, and a multiple-time All-Star. He was a guy who could completely take over a playoff game.
Then you get a little comfortable. Actually, more than a little comfortable. Then your accountant steals your money. Then you lose Wall's Wings and Burgers, lose the girl, lose the mansion. Then you end up doing local car dealer commercials.
So pick your car and roll on out of here. Now that's a pick and roll.
From 2014 to 2018, you could put him up against almost any guard in the association, and he held his own. The only thing missing from his resume is deep playoff runs, and honestly, that was more about Washington's roster than it was about him. The Wizards never had the supporting cast. Bradley Beal was great, but outside of that, their roster was pretty thin. If Wall had been on a team like the Spurs, the Celtics, or the Warriors, who knows how different his career would look. When we look at John Wall, we look at the what-ifs. Like, first off, what if he never got hurt? The Achilles tear in 2019 basically ended his prime. Before that, he was coming off 5 straight All-Star appearances, an All-NBA selection, and was only 27 years old. Just 27. He was in the middle of his prime. Most guys hit their primes between 27 and 31. So if he stays healthy, we could have been talking about another 5 years of elite guard play. Maybe he's still in the league right now, chasing 20,000 career points and maybe even 10,000 assists. Another what-if is the East itself. Wall played an era where LeBron completely owned the conference. From 2011 to 2018, LeBron made the finals every single year. So even if Wall and the Wizards had broken through, chances are they were running into peak LeBron. But what if LeBron leaves for LA a couple years earlier? Or what if the Wizards catch a break in the playoffs? Washington could have been that surprise finals team. And what about his reputation? If Wall wins just one trip to the finals or even an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, the conversation around him is totally different. Right now, most people remember him for the contract, the injuries, and a couple highlight plays. But if he stays healthy, makes one finals run, we're talking about John Wall the same way we talk about guys like Chris Paul or Dame. Stars who didn't get rings but were respected as all-time greats at their position. It's crazy because you can easily picture an alternate timeline where John Wall has multiple All-NBA selections, maybe a finals appearance, maybe even a Hall of Fame case. But because of injuries and bad timing, he ended up being remembered as what could have been player. And honestly, that might be the biggest shame of his whole career. Could he have led the team to the finals? Could he have been an MVP candidate? We'll never know. But what we do know is that for about 5 years, John Wall was one of the most exciting players in basketball. He gave Wizards fans hope. He gave us highlights, and he left us all wondering what could have been. So yeah, John Wall was really that good, and he deserves way more respect than he gets when people look back at the 2010s. What was your favorite memory of John Wall? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to sub, follow, and like for more.
Bye.